Hi, I'm Natalie Bouchard, and you're listening to Inside NC Labor, a podcast designed to inform and educate North Carolina citizens on the role that the Department of Labor plays in state government.
Thank you for tuning in to Inside NC Labor. Today we have Marcy Collyer with our OSH Division, the Education, Training, and Technical Assistance Bureau, and some other guests that we're going to introduce later. But we wanted to start out with Marcy. Tell us a little bit about who you're with on the OSH side of the house and a little bit about alliances for the department.
Absolutely. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for inviting me to be here. It's great to be here and share about the Alliance program. An alliance is a voluntary agreement between the North Carolina Department of Labor, Occupational Safety and Health Division, so it is OSH specific, and another entity. That other entity could be a labor organization, a trade or professional association, a university, local or state government, or any other interested stakeholder whose primary mission is to enhance the conversation in the workplace about safety and health and to reduce injury, illnesses, and fatalities. So the Alliance provides an opportunity to improve the conversation, bring up concerns, advocate for change, and overall improve workplace safety and health.
Okay, that's wonderful. And let's go ahead and introduce our guest today. Wendy, why don't you start?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be here. My name is Wendy Laing. I work with NC State Industry Expansion Solutions. We are an extension of the College of Engineering, and our mission is to help North Carolina businesses improve their performance. And particularly in my area of expertise is professional learning, OSHA, and instructional design. We manage the Southeastern OSHA Training Institute Education Center, and for over 10 years now, we have been training trainers to train 10 and 30-hour OSHA courses. We participate in a number of events across the state with the same mission that we share with North Carolina OSH, and that is to help workers improve their workplace safety.
Awesome. And I want to come back to that because we want to talk about the MESH program. Matt, why don't you tell us about who you're with?
Sure. It's great to be here. My name is Matt Thompson. I am with the Safety and Health Council of North Carolina. We're the North Carolina chapter of the National Safety Council. And my specific title is Manager of Marketing and Public Relations. However, I manage our Raleigh office, and we also have an office in Charlotte. And just like everybody else here at this table, we share the same mission, which is to prevent injuries and fatalities in the workplace. And that's actually the mission of the National Safety Council and the mission of our chapter. So working together within the Alliance has been a perfect fit for us as an organization.
That's wonderful. Wendy, would you speak to the MESH program and tell us what does this acronym stand for?
It's been a great acronym. It's the Manager of Environmental Safety and Health. It's a certificate program that was launched more than 20 years ago with the three agencies in this room right now at NCOSH, Safety and Health Council, and NC State, with a mission to provide education and certificate programs for individuals seeking professional development, knowledge, and the ability to implement occupational safety and health programs. And with these three agencies together over the more than 20 years, we have ensured these individuals have competence in safety and health, that we're partnering to improve, continuously improving professional development and investing in safety and health of these employers.
Our alliances with Industry Expansion Solutions and the Safety and Health Council of North Carolina are unique in that they are permanent alliances. The alliance program normally is a person or an organization will sign an alliance with the OSH division for a period of 2 years. We do have the option to renew, but we try to limit most of the alliances to one renewal to give other organizations an opportunity to have alliances with the OSH division. Our alliances with these two groups and with Wendy and Matt are long-term because we collaborate and manage the MESH program together. We are the three bodies that, designed, developed, and we implement the program in the state of North Carolina today. Wendy and Matt's group, actually, they do the bulk of the labor, I would say, because they administer the program. We support the program with training, but they administer the program and they make sure all the paperwork is filed and people receive their certifications and all of the follow-up that goes with that. Because of that, they are permanent alliances. We also have unique situations where we might have an alliance with a party that has broad outreach in North Carolina that allows us extra leverage into that industry, and we may extend that alliance beyond that initial first renewal if we go to that step for those reasons. But these alliances that we're here with today, they are very unique in that we work on the MESH program with them, and it's a very special program in North Carolina.
It's wonderful because you have more people who are trained to understand workplace safety and health, and that probably has a lot to do with why the injury and illness rate in North Carolina is at an all-time low, because fewer injuries and illnesses in the workplace. We have more competent people thanks to you all in that program. Mm-hmm. With the alliances, Marcy, tell us how, with some of the big initiatives that we have through the OSH division, like I know the construction national stand down to prevent falls in construction is coming up in May, and we're building up to a lot of events. Tell us how you're tying in the alliances.
One of the primary benefits of having an alliance is to leverage the OSH division to give us more outreach into industry in North Carolina and allow us to do things that we necessarily wouldn't be able to do on our own due to limited resources. With the upcoming National Safety Stand Down for Falls in Construction, we collaborated with almost all of our alliances that have a construction connection to host construction forums within the state, and we decided, based upon resources, we would host one in the east and one in the west, and see what audiences we could reach there. All of the alliances that have a construction connection are involved in those forums, and we are using those forums as a platform to support the stand down. So we've driven all of our resources to this week for the stand down, and we wanted to collaborate with the alliances to take that an extra step and host the construction forums in that week also. At this time, 5 or 6 of our alliances are directly involved. It's pretty exciting. It's getting a lot of attention.
That's awesome. It's so important, too, to work with industry because, as you said, to leverage the OSH division. You know, we're a small agency when you think about it. So working with industry allows us, or organizations, allows us to really spread our tentacles and try to prevent accidents and injuries and fatalities.
Yeah, and I will say the forums are actually quite brilliant on Marcy's part because it does bring in all of the alliances that we're all trying to do the same thing. So why not convene us in 2 areas of the state where we can truly better deploy information, training, resources. A stand down itself is quite brilliant in the fact that we're trying to approach information as collectively stopping work and just talking about safety. It's not regulatory driven. It's not an inspection. It's an investment in a prevention and injury, and I think it's actually quite a.
And you're reaching those folks on the front lines doing the most dangerous work. That is what's brilliant about it to me. You're taking the training to them and addressing the issues. I think it's wonderful.
I would be remiss if I didn't share that in addition to collaborating with our alliances, the program utilizes many of the OSH staff. We have our special emphasis program committee members, we have our training staff, our standard staff, and when we are working with an alliance to engage in activity to reach a specific industry, we are using all of those resources and those people. And collectively, I think we do a great job. It takes all of us to do it, though.
Absolutely. Matt, did you have anything to add regarding them?
Well, I want to, and it does tie in with the Alliance because obviously the MESH program is part of the Alliance that we have with the Department of Labor and OSH, Department of Labor. But since I'm probably the only one at this table that can remember the genesis of the MESH program, I did want to follow up on something Wendy said, which is it has been actually 23 years since the MESH program was developed. And that acronym MESH at that time was actually, I don't know if it was done on purpose or maybe it wasn't, but at that time there were so many people working in safety who did not have the benefit of what we have now with social media and phones, and many of them felt isolated. So part of the purpose of the MESH program was to bring people working in safety together, particularly those that might not have a a specific safety background, but had been given safety responsibilities.
Yeah.
So it was, MESH was bringing everyone together.
Oh.
And of course, at that time, the term going viral wasn't in existence, but fortunately, the MESH program definitely has gone viral.
Yay.
And now there's MESH grads all over the United States. But that was the original emphasis when we started the MESH program in working with NC State and Department of Labor, was to make sure that everyone had a network that they could tune into in safety and not feel isolated. Now that obviously everyone is connected nowadays, but in 1996, not so much.
It is a program for the incidental safety manager, which happens so much in industry where people are wearing many hats today, and you have many HR professionals or engineers or other professionals who are just approached one day and said, we need someone to manage safety and health, and they have no background. I had a conversation with someone the other day, and they were asking me about the MESH program, and I talked about how awesome it was, where you can accumulate 100 hours of training and receive a certification in North Carolina that gives you a credential in safety and health that is held in high esteem, especially now.
Right.
I mean, after 23 years, it's a wonderful program.
That's awesome. I didn't know that history. I love that.
That was
something new every
there at the
day.
beginning, right? But I do agree with Marcy. We see, and I'm sure Wendy sees too, so many people that are given this responsibility for safety and sort of tapped on the shoulder one morning and say, hey, do your regular job, but do safety too. And that can be really scary. And the MESH program has been, I think, been a big help to those type of people.
I wanted to mention something as well that the Safety and Health Council initiated about 3-4 years ago, the Safety Leadership Summit. Mm-hmm. And what we were hearing is that once folks become qualified through MESH or they're implementing their program, they need to have continuous opportunities to improve their leadership and their culture and their organization. And so the Safety Leadership Summit was initiated in Asheboro in partnership with North Carolina Zoo and with this alliance. Yes. And Safety and Health Council does a wonderful job at organizing the event, and we send our staff between Marcy's group and my group. It is actually an outstanding session. I've participated and learned myself and walked away feeling that I've learned something and grown, and we hear that also from the participants. So I want to do a big shout out to Matt and his team for doing that.
I need to go to that one year. Mm-hmm. Commissioner always talks about that event.
It's very well done.
How great it is.
Yeah, it's very well done. It's a great community.
Yeah.
Plus, you get to go into the zoo.
In the zoo.
Yeah.
I think I could get these girls to go to the zoo. Yeah. Does anybody else have anything else to add today before we wrap this up?
I have one more thing I wanted to mention is if you have been aware of the Federal OSHA Susan Harwood Grant Program, mm-hmm. It is a federal grant that's awarded to nonprofit institutions of higher education for training, and usually in areas of need that OSHA has identified, very similar to the needs that we see in the state. And so over the years we have been awarded Susan Harwood grants where we provide free training and or build developmental materials that are available mm-hmm. for free download on our website. So over this last year, a couple things that we have done that are unique that I would encourage our Alliance members as well as folks listening to the podcast, free download materials for fall prevention materials for youth workers. We find that youth workers learn differently, mm-hmm. and therefore as trainers we've had to learn how to modify our instruction. So we do have those materials available for free download now in English and in Spanish. Also, following the hurricanes of last fall, mm-hmm. We've been awarded a Susan Harwood grant to improve disaster safety training in those areas affected. So we're still out in the field providing that training up through the end of June of this year. So we're very excited about that because we're not only training with needs for disaster-prone areas, but how to prevent and prepare for the next hurricane season, which has been very exciting to have those conversations with those communities.
For our listeners, I wanted to follow up and just let them know that there is an application process for our Alliance program. The application is on our website. If you have interest in an alliance with the North Carolina Department of Labor Occupational Safety and Health Division, you can submit that application. It comes to me. We process it internally. There are several meetings to process that application, and then we make a determination whether or not we can accept another alliance at this time.
And before we wrap up, if somebody listening today was interested in learning more about MESH, who should they?
Well, they certainly can contact Wendy's office, or obviously Marcy's office, or our office,
Okay.
either in Charlotte or in Raleigh. Any three of the organizations can give them information about MESH. If you want numbers, I can give you numbers, but any three of the organizations can give them information about MESH and get them started on the MESH path.
That's perfect.
And just one quick thing, if I would like to say, in gratitude both to Wendy and her staff and to Marcy and her staff, is from the council's, Safety and Health Council standpoint, how helpful and enjoyable it has been to be working with both. The Alliance has meant a lot to us. I have two numbers memorized. One is Wendy's registration coordinator. I have her number memorized, and I have Marcy's main office number memorized. And these are people that I call on all the time to help as people call in. And I think the three organizations work very well together. And then from a standpoint of the Alliance, specifically of the council working with the Alliance, has been a great help to us from a standpoint of not only working with the Department of Labor, but being able to be part of some of the events like the Safety Awards banquets and that we've enjoyed very much. So it's been a great, I think, partnership with the organizations, and the Alliance has, I think, been a great success.
We really appreciate you all coming today and sharing information about the Alliance program. Marcy, thank you for coming over here today.
Yes, thank you for the invitation, and we sincerely appreciate all the work that Wendy and Matt do in the Alliance program and their support in reaching out to industry in North Carolina. We certainly couldn't do it without them.
Thank you, guys. I think
Thank
we'll
you
just
very much.
wrap it up now.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in, y'all. Remember, your safety is our priority.